We ready? All right. Love the mic. Okay. Well, first, we're excited to be here. Just kind of open up. And we just got through with our Fast Friday on whatever today is. Our guys are really locked in and excited. We're playing a great football team in Ole Miss, and this is a big-time bowl. Got to play in this bowl in 2018. It's one of my favorite memories so far in college football, and hopefully we're going to make some good memories tomorrow. I think it's going to be packed with a lot of Red Raiders. Expect a lot of Raider power tomorrow and a lot of energy in that building. But I will tell you, our guys are really excited to play in this bowl game, and they've shown it during practice. So with that, I'll open up with for any questions.
What challenges do you see in this kind of Ole Miss offense, similar to y'all's fast-paced up-tempo?
We've talked a lot about like which team handles the tempo of the other team, because they do a great job tempoing. The biggest thing is trying to limit big plays in the run game, because they're going to run the football. They're one of the best in the country at rushing the football, and they've got two great tailbacks. They've got a quarterback that can run, and so limiting some of that run game, I think that's one of the biggest parts. And we talk about it all the time. Whatever game it is, we got to be able to adjust to it and play that game. And so we've been in our last two games. We were in a really cold game against Iowa State, and it was a slugfest where there wasn't a lot of offense and finding a way to win. And then the next week we played OU, and it was kind of an old school Big 12 shootout, and find a way to win that game. And so it's just adjusting to the game and handling their tempo and see if they can handle ours.
You mentioned the two tailbacks. I guess just breaking down each one with each one so well.
The young back, I mean, he's something, because if you give him any daylight, I mean, he is putting his foot in the ground and he is flying through it. I mean, he's really special. And, you don't rush for that many yards in the SEC as a true freshman and not be really special. And then, Zach, watched him in high school, of course, and, saw what he did at TCU. He's a very physical, you're sitting there, you're going, well, he's not real big, but he really runs behind his pads. He's got great body lean, so he's always, falling forward. It's a big challenge with those two guys. I asked Coach Perry, I said, who is this that we're playing that we've played like it? And it's a little bit like when we played Texas. They've got two great tailbacks, and so, facing the backs that we faced this year, but probably the most comparable is facing those two guys and, trying to limit, what they can do to us in the game.
Coach, you mentioned the high tempo for Ole Miss, and also for you guys too. You guys know a lot of moments in the high tempo, especially with the duo between Soraya Thompson and Tosh Brooks. How important is it for you guys to get your run game started?
Yeah, I think it's big. I mean, we're probably a little bit less than 200 yards. My goal, I always want to make sure that we can rush for at least 2,000 yards during the season. We were like at 1,870 or something like that. But I think I could be wrong. There's a stat out there, like if we rush the ball for 41 times or more, we're like 6-1 or maybe undefeated. And so I think it's really important that those two guys get going, and they feel great. I mean, they're as fresh and healthy as they've been all season long. And I think that they'll have really good games. I mean, they find ways, man, to affect the game. And one of them's going to be hot and probably get more touches, but that's a great thing about both of them. And they have no egos. They don't care who's in the game. They just want to win.
Coach, when you look at the two quarterback rooms with Barrett and Tyler on your side and Jackson on the other, how do these two guys kind of match up and stack up with each other?
Whenever it comes down to it, if the running backs have the day they have and ours do the same, then it is going to come back down to, who can make big plays, probably not only with their feet and the quarterbacks, but, with their arms. The quarterbacks are similar, all three, our two and theirs that's going to play, just because they're dual threat guys. They can change the game with their feet. They can extend plays. And so that's going to be a fun matchup. We're excited. Shuck's going to go out there and start, but, Kitley always has a little something with his second quarterback, so we've got some special stuff with those guys on the field. And Barron, this is the best he's felt probably since going into Oklahoma State. He's, I think, as close to full speed as he can be. So I think that's going to be big for us if something happens, or him just going out there and making some plays.
You look good, you have the rodeo last night, Barron?
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun. There was a couple of times I was a little nervous whenever Wolf grabbed the calf's tail. I was like, God, don't get kicked. I mean, that'd be a heck of a deal, our kicker getting kicked by a calf and not be able to play the game. But that was a lot of fun. And our guys had a lot of fun. And, we've talked this whole all the bowl practices, everything that's going on, of just coming in here and making memories with each other. This is you're always a Red Raider. You're a Red Raider for life. But this is a closing of the 2022 chapter in Texas Tech football and what these guys have done. And so we're trying to create some memories, and we had a good time last night.
How important is it to you to emphasize that even more for some of these senior guys who are going to be playing in their last game?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's those guys, you're talking about a group, they're going to play their last game tomorrow in that uniform, and they're the only group that's ever beat Texas and OU in the same season. They have the highest GPA that's ever in one semester, a 3.13 GPA as a team. So it's the highest GPA that we've ever had as a football team in one semester. And so just the stuff that the legacy they're leaving behind, and kind of the standard, like this is who we are and this is what we're going to be in the future. We want to end on a good note and end with one more memory. And, we had Mattress Mac was at our practice this morning, and he said, enjoy this, but it's a whole lot sweeter when you win, and so we've been talking about that too.
Joey, has COSI's situation regarding next year, is that officially resolved?
No, we're still waiting. We did get Teeter's stuff back. He got an extra year from the NCAA, so we're really excited about Henry being able to come back. We're still waiting to hear on COSI, so it's, kind of going at the pace of turning everything in and checking all the boxes to see if we can get him back one more year.
And Henry's in there.
Yeah, Henry's coming back. Yeah, he's already, got everything turned in for his master's program and everything like that, and so really fired up about him.
Last year there were 6 senators that came back this year, first to be super senators. Here, this will be at least 13 guys now. What does that tell? 13 guys are seniors this year, at least, not counting like Tyler.
Right.
Have decided to be here.
Well, I think some of those guys, like, I'll take Tony and Boog, they're playing their best football they've ever played, and they see that. And so they have an opportunity to grow off of that and put tape together that gives them a legitimate chance to play at the next level. And I think they see that. And I think these older guys see, one, we have a really good culture. They're having an opportunity to continue their education, but they also, they're playing their best football right now. And I think that's one thing about our staff. If you'll hang in there with us and stick with us, you're going to play your best football late, really, in your career to really grow and develop into somebody that can play on Sundays.
Coach, you mentioned the super senior group already. Do you have a certain message where you're going to pull them aside before they run out all the tunnel tomorrow?
We'll talk about, what we've done before, but it'll be a lot of, they'll hear the same thing. There's 3 things that we're about, the brand, the player coach's oath, and the plan to win, and we don't deviate from that, and especially when you're going into a game against an opponent that we're fixed to play, we really want to stay focused on that. But, it's kind of like a little bit like senior night, we want these guys to make sure they're going off on a good note. So we talk all the time about playing for each other, and we're definitely going to do that tomorrow night.
Joey, a couple of your guys linebackers start freshman this year, Ty Cannon and Bill Roberts. Which of those positions have you been training them at, and what do they like to play?
Yeah, Ty's been playing Mike, and Ben's been playing Will. really excited about those two guys. I mean, bowl practice has been huge for guys like that, and excited. You know, they'll play tomorrow night on special teams. You know, it's always crazy. The NCAA came out and said that the bowl game wouldn't affect your red shirt. I wish they'd have done that going into the last game, because we didn't play them against OU because we were saving them for the bowl game. And so it'd have been nice to be able to play against OU and get that experience in that game. But, you know, both of those guys, the bowl has been huge for them to get the extra reps.
Yeah, what's the position on the defensive line since you're actually going to play?
You know, he's right there with Boog and Tony. I mean, he's going to play a nose, so he'll, you know, whenever you're talking about those defensive linemen, they're going to play a 4 technique, 3 technique, 1 technique, and a nose guard, and so he'll be right there. It's been good to see him. He actually, you know, with some of the stuff that's happened in the D-line, he's got a lot of reps. The guy that I'm really excited about tomorrow night that's going to get some reps that hadn't played a whole lot this year is Duda Banks. I mean, he is you know, been with that second line. It's been him and V behind Tony and Jay Boog, and so excited to see him because he has really played well in practice. Good. They've been, you know, the last 2 days have got good practices, and feel good about those guys.
Any other questions for Coach?
All right, thank y'all. Wreck 'em.
They don't be instructed, guys.
So excited to be down here. You know, the people have been amazing at the bowl game and very first class. You know, you never know coming to a new bowl game, and we're at the Sugar Bowl a year ago, and I was just saying to our staff, you get the same feeling as you get in the New Year's Six Bowl as far as the hospitality and how everybody's been around and the event. So bull riding, even though people may have thought that's not anything I know about, which is true, was exciting last night to watch. Myself and the athletic director were talking this morning, and he mentioned, you know, that we weren't really prepared for that. So we think that hopefully we'll be more prepared for the game than we were for that. We feel like with all the Texas players, they had a little better preparation than we did for knowing what to do out there. But that was a cool event. And so again, honored to be here, excited to play in this game. Texas Tech presents a lot of problems for us. Extremely well coached, played really, really hard, which isn't always the case when you're in a tempo team because you got to play so many plays. So actually just met Coach for the first time just now, and so he's done an amazing job in such a short time to get these guys to play so well.
Coach, you kind of just touched upon it right there. Talk a little bit more about what Joey's been able to do, I guess, in his first season, coming from someone like yourself that's obviously not new to college football like he is.
Yeah, I think it is amazing. You know, not having that long time background of a lot of different college programs, and to be such a successful high school coach as he was, and to come in and do such a great job in recruiting where he was at before, and then to come over here and with a new roster like that, and to put together a staff, and just really done a phenomenal job. And I think it shows. Great coaches are everywhere. I always tell this story to my staff that, you know, my dad used to say when I first started coaching, because his son was 23, he was telling me, and got into coaching, and he used to always say, you know, when you go to high schools and you meet the coaches there, show them great respect. He goes, because he's been in all the different levels, and he said you will find some better high school coaches than you will even NFL assistant coaches. And so just people are in different situations and how they end up places. So that's a great example of somebody where you'd say, well, okay, successful high school coach, how's that going to transition? And look what he's done already in a short period of time.
What's been your experience dealing with high school coaches, especially in the state of Texas, and through the Texas High School Football Coaches Association?
Well, I just think that, you know, it's, you know, like I joke sometimes, the SEC and the West, you know, it's like playing in the NFL, like playing in the NFC Central. I think when you come down and visit high schools here, I remember years ago, my first time being around it, it was really like college. You know, it's like high school coaches and programs and facilities like colleges have. So when I was young, I read Friday Night Lights, so that was my first experience of seeing it, and then to go to the schools and see how well they're coached, how big the facilities are, how well the players are trained, really is. Texas high school football is really like college football.
Coach, you mentioned that high school offense that Texas Tech has. I guess from your first impressions of the quarterback, but also the running.
Again, the tempo causes a lot of issues. The quarterback has played really well. You know, you look at the last game with 50 points, and that was a team that understands tempo in Oklahoma. So, you know, I said it yesterday to the media. You know, that assumption that you're good on defense with tempo because your offense plays tempo, that's not necessarily true at all. And if you study that in analytics, that shows. You know, we played Arkansas 2 years ago and had 50 points each and 1,200 yards and you know, run the same type of tempo that you see every day in practice. So it's always an issue preparing to play for it, even when your own offense does it.
Coach, you guys run a lot of plays also. Has that just been because y'all were very prolific and have a lot of weapons, or y'all like to go tempo yourselves?
No, that's what we do. I mean, we've built a system that runs off of tempo. We've kind of changed from the initial Baylor phase of it and kind of run more formations and plays than they did, but then tried to keep the tempo at the same time. Learning it from Art and Kendall when we hired Kendall, and then Jeff Levy coming to us the last couple of years.
Lane, where have you seen Jackson just improve the most, not just from a football perspective, but maturity on that side as well since he got here?
Yeah, to see, we went through some cut-ups and some of his earlier plays were on there. It's just amazing to see, you barely remember those. It seems like it was so long ago, but, the way in the 2-2-minute drives when he threw the picks early on in the season, he's just come a long ways. And like I've said, he really was like a true freshman for us because nothing against the system. I'm not saying which one's better, but the system he came from out there, the air raid system, is coached completely different at the quarterback position. So he basically came to us and we had to start him from scratch about, playing quarterback in our system. So, and you see that, I think, even in Matt Corral, the difference he played right away versus towards the end of his first year.
Specifically, with your transfer portal addition, was curious how you
Well, on signing day, I said it's kind of a strange feeling to have signing day press conferences anymore because you're not, I kind of said it'd be like talking about your entire team halfway through the draft on draft day because there's so much left and you've already seen different players come since then. So I know there may have been concern, with the numbers. I think it was 12 high school guys signed on signing day. But at the same time, too, we did not lose a lot of players. And if you really look at our team coming back next year, there's not a lot of significant players lost. So we really weren't able to sign a huge class like some other people. And that's a good thing because the people that are able to sign those huge classes, it's because a lot of people transferred and left their programs. We've had some, like everybody, but if you really look at our significant players, there's not very many of them, that transferred or that are in the portal.
Did you learn anything from the guys that you brought in last year being so tested and bring to the line?
Yeah, I think that, I wouldn't say learn. We kind of knew that this was going to happen. There's a transition. Whenever you bring high school players into your culture, that takes a little bit of time. The difference now is, I've kind of said it's like parenting. They've already been parented somewhere else. And so we have a big blended family. And so the players come from all these different places and expectations, practice standards, off-field behavior, is run all different ways. So it's kind of like we got to retrain them into how we do things. So there is that does take a little bit of time, and I think it's also why you don't see every transfer kid go to new places and have great success.
You touched on it earlier. What are the challenges preparing for a team like Tech that uses multiple guys at quarterback and it seems frequently in the game? What does that have to do in terms of scheme?
Well, we had that issue earlier in the season with the team that brought in a different quarterback that ran a little better and stuff. So I think in these games with the long layoff, the most important thing is not who's playing over there. It's getting lined up, especially with tempo and tackling. Always, forever has been an issue with long layoffs. So I think that's going to be the most important regardless of who's playing quarterback.
How special are kind of these just bold trips for a team where you get to do events like the rodeo and other things like that?
Yeah, I think it's really neat. I thought both teams were very respectful of each other. I was told that maybe wasn't the case a few years back with some teams, so we discussed that before, and so that's really neat. I think too, the opt-out thing came up about us having no opt-outs, but also I think we're unique because we have a number of kids that are in the portal that are still playing in this game, and I think that's very rare around college football and shows that they wanted to spend some time with each other and finish things right.
And kind of how ready are you as well as this team to just get back out there and play another game after this long layoff after the ankle?
Really excited, and the season did not end the way that we would like. We started really well and didn't finish the way they like. So when that happens, especially, you want to get to the next game. So like I said, it's going to be very challenging. Sounds like, especially because of the location, tickets and stuff, that, you know, they're going to have a big crowd there, so a little bit of a road game factor. So this would be really exciting to play really well and finish off a season and, you know, win 19 games in the last 2 years.
Coach McGuire's spoken pretty highly of your run game coming into this one. What challenges present themselves when you look at Texas Tech's defense, especially up front with so much senior leadership?
Yeah, their team, I think 9 of the 11 starters now with the safety transfer are seniors. So it's a very veteran defense, one that, like I said, plays really hard. And I think with long layoffs, the issue is, too, they've had a lot of time to watch film. And so they may not do what we think they're going to do. You know, you always have that concern in any game after 1 week, let alone after almost a month.
You've had success recruiting this part of Texas, even including the master's class. Is there anything to being able to run your program and play the game in this area in terms of recruiting for the future kids who may want to come and watch?
I mean, I think it's neat. I don't think, you know, like you guys know, I just tell you how it is. I don't think that's a major factor that when you play a bowl game in a city, you're going to all of a sudden sign all these players are going to come. But I think every once in a while, you know, a kid will remember. I remember seeing, you know, it's usually a couple years down the road. I remember seeing you guys in that game and playing down here, but I don't think it really, on signing day, really impacts that.
Coach, regarding Quinshon Judkins, has he surprised you at all, or at what point did you know that he would be special as he was right off the bat?
Well, I watched his state championship game and watched him carry the ball a ton in that game, play some Wildcat and do different things. And so I thought at that time, wow, this guy's got a special makeup, you know, that he could play that physical for that long. And then in camp, once he started practicing against our guys, he would make some very unique runs, has great vision. So I would say pretty early on. And then in one of our first games, actually the first game, you know, you saw the violence that he ran with, actually attacking people. So he's really special. And I think to see a guy play the number of snaps with Zach out at times, like I think he played 71 snaps or something in Baton Rouge, like that's pretty unheard of for any level running back, let alone a freshman.
I know you've talked about Mike Leach and your relationship with him. For the benefit, obviously, he still has a lot of big fans, of course, for those people. Could you kind of discuss your relationship with Mike?
Yeah, Mike was awesome. I told the story to the announcers that were just doing the media, you know, when they asked about an interaction with him. My first interaction, he called me, which, you know, if you watch you know, his funeral where they talked about, if you know Mike Leach, you got a midnight call out of nowhere, and it was just you have no idea what it's going to be. And he just called me because his dad had given my dad had given him my number, and it was actually in season. We were at USC playing really well. Tech was having a down year, and he just said, "Hey, your dad gave me your number," and he just started saying, "You know, well, what do you guys practice like on Wednesdays?" And he just stayed on the phone for like 45 minutes, and and just wanted to talk and learn, and then called the next night again at midnight. So I just got a lot of great memories with him. I think that, you know, I appreciate too, like a lot of people said that day, you know, he was going to get up here, or when you met him, he was going to just be who he was. He wasn't going to change for a camera, for a person, and I just really appreciate that part about him, and, you know, miss him. And you continue to meet people. Like today, I just met somebody that played for him that were impacted by him and have nothing but positive things to say about how he was and how much time he took with people.
All right, thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
All right, guys.